Kutak-Dodds prizes are presented in memory of Robert J. Kutak and Kenneth R. Dodds, former partners in my law firm, the Omaha, Nebraska office of Kutak Rock LLP, and who were advocates of public service, legal education, and high ethical standards throughout their lives. NLADA and the Robert J. Kutak Foundation bestow the Kutak-Dodds prizes annually to honor the accomplishments of one civil legal aid attorney and one public defender who, through the practice of law, are reinforcing the principles and reality of justice for all under the law. Tonight, on behalf of NLADA and the Robert J. Kutak Foundation, it is my genuine pleasure to present the 2024 Kutak-Dodds prizes to Michelle Mason, Chief of the Juvenile Special Defense Section at Defender Association of Philadelphia, and Ariel Levinson-Waldman, Founding President and Director Counsel at SEDEC DC. Ariel currently is in New Zealand, although his parents are with us tonight. So, accepting his award this evening is Stephen Jefferson of the Community Outreach Coordinator at SEDEC DC. Michelle and Stephen, would you please join me up here on stage? Michelle Mason, the first in her family to graduate law school, had a singular goal: to be a public defender. Upon graduating law school, she started with the Defender Association of Philadelphia and has remained there ever since. In her over 30 years of practice, Miss Michelle, as the young people she works with call her, has represented thousands of young people who are embroiled in the legal system. When asked to describe Michelle as a leader, a longtime colleague said, "Michelle leads by example. She supervises a unit that handles complex cases that can be difficult, both legally and emotionally. Because of her knowledge and well-earned reputation as a legal authority in the field, her voice is trusted by judges, court administration, our office, and other stakeholders in and adjacent to the court system." Thank you. Ariel Levinson-Waldman has been at SEDEC DC since its inception in 2017. SEDEC's mission is to safeguard the legal rights and financial health of DC residents with lower incomes, dealing with the often devastating consequences of abusive debt collection practices and other consumer-related issues. Under Ariel's leadership, the work has included leading litigation and legislation efforts that led DC to ending its policy of punishing its residents with unpaid fines or fees by automatically disqualifying them from driver's licenses, co-leading a coalition that successfully championed major reforms to DC's debt collection system, and persuading the DC government to become the first state-level government in the nation to invest public funds in canceling medical debt. Ariel has a passion for expanding access to justice for his neighbors locally and for all Americans. He represents clients and also serves on several DC commissions related to access to justice and pro bono. Now, if you would please turn your attention to the screens for a brief video showing this year's awardees at work.
I'm Michelle Mason, Chief of the Juvenile Special Defense Unit at the Defender Association of Philadelphia. I came here straight from law school wanting to represent people who've been charged with crimes in a justice system that is neither fair nor just for many people. I started working with young people who were charged as adults. That changed my career path. Working against putting kids in jails has become my life work and my passion. The first time you see a child in the corrections institution in shackles and chains, it brings up so many emotions. As a person, we have a choice to either see this child as a criminal or as someone who is a child who may or may not have done what they're accused of. As their attorney, I try to see their reality and work with them to seek their humanity and to find a path forward. I first met Z through a connection with a partner organization. He had a warrant for his arrest. I explained his rights to him and arranged for him to turn himself in. We worked through his case together and he was placed on probation. We addressed some of the problems that he had in his support system. He successfully completed probation, graduated high school, and his record has been expunged. This gives Z the opportunity to decide when and how his story should be told. He's also now an amateur videographer. He works with young people who are justice system involved to effectuate change. He is an advocate for sweeping criminal justice reform. I am proud to call him a colleague, no longer a client. When I talk about my work, people always say young people need to be held accountable. Incarceration is not the answer. Young people need things like education, mentoring, peer supports, therapeutic interventions, and job training opportunities that provide living wages for young people so that young people, whether they've been arrested or not, have the opportunity to imagine a future with hope. When I see a young person who has graduated high school, who's had a successful outcome on their case, who has a job, or even who just believes that someone believed in them, that's why I love my job.
Like many people, I'm a product of who I'm from as much as where I'm from. My grandparents survived the Holocaust, and my dad left Ukraine and eventually at the age of 19 made it to the US speaking about 10 words of English. Through him and my mom, I, by luck, got to grow up in this country with education and love poured into me. In our District of Columbia community today, like in most of the country, we have a massive and persistent racial wealth gap. Our Black and Latino neighbors are disproportionately excluded from the civil legal system, as often only people with wealth can access justice. At Tzedek DC, we work to address this problem. One of the clients I got to serve and had the privilege of getting to know was Isan Fullington. When I met Isan at the back of the courtroom, she was an unrepresented defendant in a debt collection case who had been laid off recently from her job. She had recently escaped an abusive relationship and was sleeping on a relative's couch. We partnered with a family law organization to obtain a restraining order against her abuser, and we succeeded in getting a lawsuit against her dismissed.
And I remember seeing a voicemail from Ariel, and I called him back, and he was like, he said, great news. We got the case dismissed. This is literally the best thing I've heard in about 5 years.
And I just remember thinking at that point, that's why we do this work. Tzedek is this beautiful word from the Torah, the Old Testament, and the book of Deuteronomy. And the phrase goes, Tzedek, Tzedek tirdof. Justice, justice, shall you, and that means all of us, shall you pursue. I'm grateful to the NLADA and Kutak for this honor, as well as my dear friend and colleague Karen Lash for nominating me. Congratulations also to tonight's amazing awardees, Michelle Mason and David Zapolsky. I'm so glad to have learned more about the impact both of you have had. I'm sorry I can't join you all tonight in person. I'm in New Zealand with my wife Rachel and our kids during Rachel's work fellowship here. But I'm grateful that my mom Kathy and stepdad Paul and my colleague Stephen are there to represent and support this fantastic event. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
It is now my great honor to present the 2024 Kutak-Dodds prizes to Michelle and to Ariel.
Thank you to the NLADA and to the Robert J. Kutak Foundation for this tremendous honor. Being recognized by two organizations that so value public service is overwhelming. I have found in my 30-plus years as a public defender that overall, public defenders are pretty cool people. In my unit at the Defender Association, we have an extraordinary team of attorneys, mitigators, investigators, and administrative staff, as well as a very supportive leadership team, some of whom are here. I'd ask them to stand up and be recognized as well.
I accept this award for them. I thank my husband and my children for knowing where my heart leads and unconditionally supporting me on this journey. I accept this award for them. Finally, I thank the thousands of young people I've had the honor to represent. They challenge me to be better, they inspire me to fight this fight, and they give me hope that we can, we should, and we will do better for our children. I accept this award for them. Thank you.
Good evening. I'll make this short and sweet. So again, I am Stephen Jefferson. On behalf of Ariel and all our teammates at ZEDEC DC, we want to say thank you to the NLADA for lifting up this work. In particular, Ariel asked me to extend congratulations to the outstanding awardees tonight. And to make sure I give a huge shout out to his mom, Miss Kathy, and stepdad, Mr. Paul. If you could stand up and just give them a round of applause. Please join me. We already did that part. That's how you make it look good, right? All right, so thank you for making us a part of this very special evening as we celebrate the work that we all do to bend the stubborn arc a little bit towards justice. Thank you.